check out.
Yeah, dude. TTR trades a rate of structured liquidity, sweep, and fair value gap. All right, do you want to tell me what the fuck this is then? Like, holy shit, bro! Like,
All right, so TGR called me out on the fact that he doesn't actually trade his model, and someone sent me his leaked course. This looks like an IFVG setup. Interesting. That being said, let's hop into today's trade recap on how I made absolutely $0. Why is my camera still up there? I made $0 on the Nasdaq. Let's talk about it. Well, why do I have these P&L tools? You might be asking. Well, we'll address that. First things first, on the higher time frame here, let me just get ES paired up here. On the higher time frame, we had been pushing all-time highs. All right, pushing all-time highs. Initially, what I said I wanted as our move of day was one of these two. So I said either we come, either we come into this 15-minute bounce price range, 15-minute fair value gap / 1 hour bounce price range that we have on ES. They both pair up, which by the way, we literally chopped up in for like ever, and have a bearish reaction all the way until I put at the lowest Asia lows. And then also marked at this 4-hour balance price range. We had London lows here. However, that's not what happened. Well, at least not all the way. So let's talk about it. Okay. Or rather, option number 2 was that, can we chat? Can we, please? Bro, what am I doing? I'm actually throwing. Option number 2 was that we would retrace up on the market open. Push up on the market open, retrace into the imbalance, and then continue pushing for all-time highs. So let's kind of break this down step by step and explain to you how I didn't trade, and I'll explain why in a second. First things first, we had the market open and immediately react off of this area of imbalance immediately. Okay. Why do I have a P&L position tool drawn out on my screen? Also, why is my camera, dude, my camera is so bad. I apologize, people. The sun is sunning. Why do I have a P&L position tool drawn out, you might ask? Well, this is why. Every single one of these trades that I had signaled to my Discord were without SMTs for the most part. And I haven't lost a trading day this entire month. Therefore, I want to keep it that way. I only want to take clean setups, and my model involves using an SMT, both external and internal. We didn't get those. So I had mentioned that if they were on evals, they're willing to risk a lower quality setup, which I don't recommend, but people will be people, to take this trade. So we were following the trend heading bearish during the pre-market session. All right. And I was assuming that this would be our manipulation leg to reach and take out London lows and then distribute higher, which is correct. However, you might be thinking, how did you enter this trade? Why did you enter it? And why is your TP here and not London lows or even Asia lows, which is all the way down here? I'll just get to that right now. So first of all, the entry criteria followed with the fact that we had an inverse fair value gap on ES, which is this guy right here. You could have entered on this candle, which is 938 closure, which is right here. Okay. Worst case scenario, you set a limit order at the CE of the body of the candle. If not, you take on the close. Doesn't matter. It just affects your RR. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the trade itself, delivering until this specific level. What is this specific level, you might be asking? This is a midnight open level, meaning that if you were to head on over to midnight open, so we can find on the chart. Oh, you can't even see it because my face cam's in the way. But if you were to find 00, which is midnight, let's mark out the open. I think I marked out like the bottom of it instead of the top, but that's midnight open level. Okay, it's a key level of resistance that I use in my trading, and I didn't want to risk anything on the day. I would have been more than happy to take it until midnight instead of London lows, but you very much could have, right? And what's crazy about this too is look at the insane reaction we had. Insane reaction. Whoa, I'm fucking stupid. look at the reaction we had out of that level, right? We had a couple of candles moving, but we eventually delivered lower. So notice how we eventually moved lower, but we had a little bit of a pullback, right? We had a little bit of resistance. We had a little bit of price deciding, oh, should I go this way or that way, right? This is why I like to secure my safe take profits and just secure as many wins as possible rather than going for high RR plays. That way, I can literally wake up, check my bank account, see that I have money today, and not have to worry about anything because I don't have to sit on the charts for hours per day waiting for a trade to hit 100 points because I need to hit a 10R. Just makes no sense for me. That being said, that was the first play that we had. The second play was longs. I'm going to break that down right now. Okay. I also was looking at shorts as well as a continuation. And I did say that we would be taking shorts if we had formed an internal SMT from this candle high to this candle high, right? Just to kind of carry the trade. However, we didn't get that. Therefore, I wasn't really looking for shorts. I was analyzing it pretty heavily, but I didn't end up doing it. Let's talk about this long here. That seems to be a very, very juicy trade. So first things first, we had the London low sweep. We had an internal SMT form, as you can see, at the low of day. Now you might be asking, well, extra, you have an SMT forming. Why didn't you take this trade? Dude, because I already called out a winning trade. I'm just calling what I see. You know what I mean? As well as I'm pretty sure we had an external SMT as well, as you can see. Okay. But the reason I didn't take it is just because it wasn't good enough for me. It didn't follow my model to a very specific criteria, which I explained on live. It's a discretionary play that I kind of explained in detail about, like my entry confirmation and some sauce that I'd be dropping in the Discord. Not by real shit though. It was an all right trade, but you guys need to understand that I want the best of the best of the best. So let's talk about it. The reason I placed my entry here is because we had a 1 minute break of structure on. Dude, what? Is my screen inverted? Wait. Yeah, dude, I'm probably tripping fucking balls. My screen was not inverted. We had a 1 minute break of structure on this candle closure right here at the 943 candle. Closure on that, as well as an inverse fair value gap on the, was it 3 minutes? See, this is the thing I hate about not doing the trade recaps right away. Inverse fair value gap in the 3 minute. Now you might be asking, why didn't you take it on the inverse? Well, I could have. However, what I waited for was a pullback. Okay. So you would have multiple options, and this depends on the person who's trading and how they see the markets. You could have placed your limit order at the CE of these fair value gaps right here, which would have been right there lining up. You could have entered off of this breakup structure plus 1 minute IFAG, which is mainly what I do. You could have entered off of the 3 minute closure of the IFAG. To each their own. It doesn't really matter. We ride it until these highs up here. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, extra, we're going right back into this 1 hour BPR / 15 minute fair value gap on NQ and ES. What the fuck is going to happen if we get stopped out and move bearish all of a sudden? Especially since it seems to be that we have a bearish SMT forming. Well, that's why you go break even once you reach internal highs. See right here, once you reach internal highs, it's still a 1-to-1. I make sure all my trades, or rather most of them are, at least the A+ setups are 1-to-1 at break-even highs or lows. You could have either A, take full profit for 1-to-1, B, partialed out and broke even, or C, fully broke even and not partial out and waits for full TB to hit, which is exactly what happened. All right. So that was trade number 2. Let's talk about the last and final trade for today. Okay. Well, also, this is worth mentioning as well. Very, very important. The reason, I remember now. The reason that I would have taken this trade right here at exactly 9:49 is because it's 1 minute before the 9:50 to 10:10 macro, meaning that whenever price enters this time frame, which is the ICT kill zone macro, price wants to aggressively target a draw on liquidity and move only towards it. See how we chopped out pre-market, we manipulated down. So right, this is our accumulation range. Manipulation to grab a session drawn liquidity, which are London lows, and then distribute to internal highs on the higher time frame. Okay. We entered the macro, shot up 100 points. What do you know? Okay. I also decided that this wasn't a good take profit, seeing that it was very close to data highs, which came from this morning's news at 8:30. I believe we had, I'm not 100% too sure what we had. I'm going to check that real quick and get back to you on that, because we did have some high impact news today at 8:30. It was actually the unemployment claims coming out. So, oh, bro, I'm such a, okay, yo. I was confused for a second why I wasn't, sorry, I was super busy today, bro. TGR got me fucked up. But these internal highs are these data highs. They are data highs. That's why it was a very, very, very anticipated draw on liquidity. And you want to see something even crazier? Notice how on the closure of the macro, the last minute, we hit take profit. It's, I'm telling you, time and price are aligned. And if you aren't profitable trading this, I don't know what to tell you that besides that it's your psychology that's a problem. Now, for this last and final trade, I did signal it to my Discord, and I'm about to show you that right now really quick, which is right here. So we had one drawn into the bounce price range once again. Two, formed an internal SMT, as you can see right here. And this is a little bit of a continuation trade because it is coming later in the day. I just signaled it because in case someone missed it, I'll show you that signal in a second. Where is this SMT being formed? Right. We have this SMT right there, and then right here. No, it's actually this. Oops. I did a little oopsie. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you have to deal with TGR, and then you you don't get head. Anyway, let's head on over to the 1 minute time frame and let's talk about this trade. So we had this internal SMT holding up our trade. We were still continuing bullish while SMT'd on ES as well. Caught an inverse fair value gap on the lower time frame, as you can see right here specifically. And this is when I called the trade out, and I'll explain this to you in a second. So right here, we had created a bounce price range, which price inversed on the way up of this candle right here. And then you might be asking, extra, why didn't you take your trade on the closure of that inverse for 1 to 1.4? Well, because we had formed a bounce price range, as you can see here, where there are two candlesticks with equal gaps in between them. So for example, if I were to go to say replay mode. Okay, let's play it out. This is an FEG, right? Now it's an IFEG. Look how price comes back up. Actually, even before that shit. On this candle right here. Okay, on this candle forming, let's say we got rid of this. See, now that's another fair value gap. See how they pair up? Like if we were to draw it out from here until here. Boom. Balanced price range. Price is more likely to draw to a bounce price range than a fair value gap, which is why I was using the bounce price range here on ES, and we were just chopping up inside of it for the rest of the PM session. That being said, I set a limit order. Well, I didn't, because I was at the doctor's. I had a doctor's appointment. I had to cut my live stream early. That's why I signaled this trade. I had a doctor's appointment. Unfortunately didn't catch this trade, but I signaled it because I didn't have my shit set up on my phone. So I set a limit order. Well, I would have set a limit order at the CE of this bounce price range and the stops at these lows down here, targeting these highs up here. And the reason that I'm going for these highs specifically rather than using a standard deviation tool to mark out draws on liquidity for all-time highs, because if you didn't know, you can use standard deviation to mark out potential take profits for all-time highs. So if I grab this guy right here, turn on my standard deviation, draw it out on manipulation legs. This isn't the best example. I want this guy down here. Yes, sir. Potential take profits, right? Is it actually better if I do this? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever. That's why I wasn't even focusing on that today, so it's irrelevant. I wanted to take these highs up here for the sole reason that we were SMT'd for shorts on ES. Watch this right here. See how these are our far, these are the all-time highs on ES over here. And on NQ, we're all-time highs, but ES, we're not all-time highs. We are SMT'd for shorts. I want to play safe. I like taking my profits. I like being a consistent trader. Let me real quick show you the trade I signaled. So as you can see right here, I had pinged my inner circle and I said, oh, that's the outcome. Oops. Said potential inverse fair value gap here, backed by an SMT, and I sent it on my phone because I was at the doctor's. What do you know? 7 minutes later, 4 hearts. That's crazy. Boom. Just like that. Called out. So that being said, those are all the trades I took for today. I don't know if I'm going to be trading tomorrow since we do have Friday on tomorrow's day, and Fridays for me are not the most probable. Rather not the most probable, but I prefer trading in the middle of the week. It resonates with me. I'm up 40 racks this month. Won most of my days. I can't really say anything besides I'm grateful for all this. God bless. I love doing this for people. That's why I live trade every single day. And if you're new here, drop a sub if you want to watch me live trade. Subscription in the bio. That being said, catch y'all later. Take care.